One headhunter called me, and she told me there's this great opportunity for PwC US. So I thought, okay, this will give me an opportunity to work with US clients. And I'm anyway planning on going to the US in the future, which we'll talk about later. So that's what I thought. Let me get this experience of working with US clients and build a network there as well. So I took up that job. So at that point of time, it was really hectic, doing consulting and creating content creation. Whatever has to be said in the world has already been said, right? Now, because nobody was listening, you have to repeat everything that has been said. Now, repeating can be done in n number of ways. And that is where content creation comes into play. Once you reach the million mark, that's when you do long-term deals. So what happens is, let's say, I mean, it's definitely more than 1 crore. So consulting firms charge a bomb. Everybody knows that, right? A typical consulting project would be anywhere from 1.5 to 2 crores, like a 3 months or 4 months engagement. Now, you need to give a justification to the client why this is so. One of the selling points is that the people who are working for you are from IIM.
What was the journey till this point? Look, for 700 followers, how much time did you spend?
1 month.
1 month.
Yeah.
And in the next 1 week, you were in 10,
I got the 9,300 came in the next 1 week.
Superb.
Yeah. You just need one viral video to reach 10,000 followers. Even today, you need one viral video to reach 10,000 followers. So 10,000 followers has become very easy today.
But, people say that if it's just one viral video, then you're a one viral sensation.
Right.
Then you die down because there's so many viral videos and people see it on their feeds and then forget.
Right.
How do you make sure that you keep creating viral content?
Yeah, that is definitely the same mindset that I had. Will I be a one-trick pony? And this one video was not even with me, it was with my sister.
That was a collab.
Yeah, that was a collab.
Yeah.
Right. So what I did was, let me do another video with my sister. That is the strategy we used, and that didn't blow up. Then I was like, oh shit, maybe we just got lucky. This is the end. Done. Now we just got to keep doing the boring finance stuff. Then what happened was, there were some content creators who started putting music and dance into their videos for explaining finance. So it's a new concept. Now I can't dance.
Putting TikTok back to Instagram.
Right. So it's like they're dancing and then they're pointing at stuff showing the financial concepts. I tried doing 1 or 2 videos, not dancing, just pointing at stuff.
Tell me about the feeling. I want to know this.
No, I mean, I did not dance. It was just me sitting on the floor and just looking at the camera and then like this and then like this and then doing this. So that is the actions I did. I did not like what I was doing. Then I realized I'm just doing this for views, so let me stop doing it. So I need to reinvent myself. I can't dance, so we need to do something different. That's when I thought, okay, let us do skits. Because I always like to, act. So I thought this will kind of, it'll be fun as well if I do skit. And I liked writing the scripts and like putting Bangalore slangs in the scripts and all of that. I did not intend to be funny in the beginning. It was just my way of speaking. That's how I talk to my friends. So that came out in my scripting. And once I got better and better at it, the skits started picking up. And then eventually people who were dancing, they started doing skits. Because that is what became the trend at that point of time. And it still is to some extent. So that's how I constantly keep reinventing myself, because with skits, there is no point where you can say, okay, now I'm the best at it. There's always room for innovation in skits, because it's acting at the end of the day, and it boils down to how you write the scripts. So, and then you can add as much humor as possible in your skits. So that's how I kept reinventing myself.
So from following trends to becoming a trendsetter is the key.
Something like that, yeah.
Right, okay. Sharan, during this time, while you were doing all this, you were making content, you were putting in a lot of effort, you left KPMG. Did you feel like, you have to get back to another organization at this point?
Yeah, so what happened was, at that point of time, I did not, because Instagram was picking up. But then PwC called me, right, through their, what is that thing called? Headhunters, right? Okay. Headhunter is someone who helps organizations hire people.
Right.
Because the HRs don't have the time, so they give it out to headhunters. So one headhunter called me, and she told me there's this great opportunity for PwC US. So I thought, okay, this will give me an opportunity to work with US clients. And I'm anyway planning on going to the US in the future, which we'll talk about later. So that's what I thought. Let me get this experience of working with US clients and build a network there as well. So I took up that job. So at that point of time, it was really hectic, doing consulting and creating content creation. But I did that for a year. But it was not in the plan, but I still enjoyed my time at PwC as well, because US clients are it's a very different experience working with US clients. I would say that US clients, they actually consider consultants as their partners, whereas Indian clients consider consultant as a vendor. They consider them to be, it's like, I paid you, you do this work for me.
Right.
But US firms, they consider consultants as equal shareholders in the organization, and they work together. Right? They don't point fingers saying, you've not done anything for me. They work together and solve the problem together. So that's how it is. So that was a different experience, which I really enjoyed.
Is it safe to say that because lockdown happened, because you were at home, because you had a lot of time, you thought of doing it? Otherwise, you would have continued being with KPMG and the life would have been very different, and there would have been no finance with Sharan.
100%. Yeah, I would agree with that, because if the lockdown hadn't happened, I would have definitely gotten promoted, because I knew my name was in the promotion list. My manager told me you're getting promoted. And if that had happened, I would have been very cushy in my job. Got the promotion, now let's work harder to get the next promotion. So, and there are multiple projects in line as well to travel if the pandemic hadn't happened. So I wouldn't have gotten the time either which ways. So definitely no pandemic, no finance with Sharan. That's 100% true.
Let's go back to your content creation journey now. A lot of content creators are now there. Finance with Sharan is just one finance with Sharan. I've at least, while I was researching about you, I saw so many finance with on Instagram, right? And that's the thing, right? Like, if something works, people are going to double down on that, and people are going to make more and more content and churn out things that, it's already existing there. Right. Does that make sense in an ecosystem like this?
So there is only a limited set of information out there. So there's this book called How to Steal Like an Artist, which every content creator reads during his initial days. So what it says is, whatever has to be said in the world has already been said, right? Now, because nobody was listening, you have to repeat everything that has been said. Now, repeating can be done in n number of ways. And that is where content creation comes into play. There is already a plethora of finance information available out there, but in the format that it is available currently, it is arguably a little bit difficult for the average person to understand it.
Right.
Or it is just too boring for someone to understand it in the way that it is available out there. That is where content creators come into play, to package it in such a way and deliver it in a format which is easily digestible. Now, no matter how many content creators there are out there, there might be overlap of content happening, but every content creator has his own style of explaining it, and that is where the differentiation happens, and that is where every content creator needs to focus on. More than the information that you're saying, you need to fine-tune your delivery method, which is very, very unique to you. And that's how you create a brand as a content creator in finance.
So, Sharan, I had this question in my mind ever since I wrote that mail to you saying that whether you will be coming to us or not. I feel that, with you guys who are creating content, you have a lot of responsibility. And why I'm saying you guys is because you guys are dealing with finance, right? Finance makes or breaks the life of so many, right? The kind of things that you are propagating, the kind of things that you are saying, being an influencer, you have a responsibility on your shoulder.
Right.
So where do you draw that line, and how ethical is this to actually tell people about some things that can alter the course of their life?
Right. So you're right. The responsibility is huge because it is finance, right? It's not just. I'm not just there to entertain people. I'm not just doing. I'm not just to entertain people. I'm telling them information which is supposed to make their lives better. And if I make a mistake, that's on me, right? Because it's people's hard-earned money at the end of the day that I'm playing with. Not playing with, helping people with. So the genesis of a content idea, which comes to most content creators, is from a reputed newspaper publication. So that's the genesis of the idea. Back then, I used to look at that newspaper publication, let's say it's like Economic Times or Mint, and just accept it at face value and go with it. That is when I had less than 10,000 followers. I used to do that. But slowly what happened was I realized that some of these newspaper publications are not accurate. There are mistakes in that as well. That happens when you become too big. Let's say when I became 100,000 followers, now the distribution is so big that even the minutest of mistakes will get caught by the audience.
Right.
And that will come up in the comment section. Some people say don't read the comment section. I read every single one of them, right? Especially the technical ones. Because if I've made a mistake, I want to know about it, and I will put out a heartfelt apology if I made a mistake. So when I was somewhere around 70,000 followers, there is a minute mistake that I had made. The newspaper publication said it. So I thought newspaper publication said it, so it has to be true. Then I did a little bit more digging, did some more due diligence, and realized I was wrong, right? So once that happened, then my due diligence went, 10x. It became 10x. So now what I do is, the genesis of the idea is the newspaper publication. I will cross-verify it across four or five other publications. Then obviously you'll have to see if it's published on the same year, because finance laws keeps changing every year.
Correct.
So you need to see that's published every year. Then after that, you will need to test it yourself. For example, let's say there is this publication saying, rent a home and don't buy a home, right? And there are so many articles on that. But that's not enough for me. So I will create a financial model, put in all my assumptions and parameters, and test it if it's actually true. So that'll take another 2 or 3 days, right? And then I will call. So now I'm surrounded by a huge network of people in the finance domain, right? People who have CFA, CA degrees, and all of that, who are also content creators themselves. So I talk to them, I ask them, I verify those information with them. I have my own CA that I will call up and ask, is this correct? Is this true? Once I do all of that, only then it gets the green signal to go. And then I also have a team of 6 people who are doing the content research every single day, right? So all of this checks have to be fulfilled. And some of the time what happens is you spend 100 hours on something and it doesn't turn out to be, doesn't turn out to be feasible. You reject it. Even though it's very disheartening that you spend so much time, it's gone. It's disheartening, you have to do it. It's better to not post something than post something that you're not sure of just for the sake of posting.
Right. And how do you do, how do you deal with another monster in the house, which a lot of social media influencers have to go through, and that's cyberbullying and the kind of effect that it has on your mental health?
Yeah.
People are just there. People are going to comment. People are going to say things to you that maybe is not very easily, digestible for you as a human being. How do you deal with that?
I would say reply with love. That always works. So in the initial stages, I was arrogant, right? So when someone is taking a dig at me or saying that this is bullshit, so what I realized that they're there to elicit a response from you. They're doing time pass. They're there to kind of, have a good time. They're bored. So they want to kind of get into a chat fight with you. I fell for the trap and I started giving it back to them. They'll obviously not sit quiet. They'll come up with their comment. So that'll go on for 16, 20 replies in that same comment thread. And I was thinking, I'm doing something great. I'm fighting with him. Everybody's seeing how great I am and responding to him. But that is actually taking a toll on my mental health because it used to make me very angry as a person, right? Because it doesn't stop there. Once you're done with that and you leave your phone, that attitude will sort of percolate towards other relationships within your life. So, you'll probably be rude to your friends or sister, because that sort of has that effect on other people in your life as well. That's not healthy. So now when I get a hate comment, I'll be like, my first word will be, thank you for your honest feedback. This is what I meant to say. Happy to clarify further if you have further doubts. No matter how arrogant he was in the first comment, his next response will be, thank you so much for your response. Now I understand. Thank you. So that's how it ends now. So that's how it is. Respond with love and you can take care of it. But some content creators, they don't even look at the comment section, which is fine because mental health should come first in this space. Otherwise, I remember in the initial few months, it used to take a huge toll on me. You constantly are thinking about it because that's not at all healthy. So now the answer is love.
From love to money, I really want to know the creator economy that has been built, and people do talk about it. There is, there's a vague idea that you can make this much or this much or this much if you are on a certain level. But I would like you, because you are there sitting at this stage, to demystify this space. How do content creators, how do social media influencers make money from your own experience, and what are the hurdles that are in the way?
Sure. So firstly, I'll tell that, now the content creation economy has matured so much. People know that money can be made. So I would say the new content creators who are starting are probably starting for the purpose of making money. When I started, I did not even think that money can be made in this. Like, no idea. Like, no, I did not know what kind of money can be made in this, because when I reached 10,000 followers, that is when the brand started reaching out to you, right? And then you're supposed to tell them how much you want to charge. Nobody knows what the rate is in this
Yeah, I
industry.
mean, if there is no rate card,
There
how
is
do
no
I
rate
even
card,
charge?
right? So now there is a rate card, because now, so when I was 10,000 followers, I connected with this guy who is my brand manager now, Ayush Shukla, who is the founder of Finet Media. So we started working on the rate card by ourselves, and today the rates is what we have set up, right? So we are sort of the people who created the rate card. But back then, nobody knows, right? So until that point of time, I had no idea money can be made. So I was just creating content for the, for the fun of making content and educating people. But today, most people, now they know how much money can be made. They're starting for that reason. So it can be quite difficult, because if that is your goal, it'll take a lot of time, right? And if you don't genuinely enjoy creating content, you won't last that long. So that is the problem. Hurdles, I would say, is, anyone, when you're less than 10,000 followers, brands don't reach out to you. They have the bargaining power. And if you're reaching out to a brand, they will take you for a ride. They will tell you, let's do barter deal, do it for free, let's see what happens. That sort of things happen. Until you reach 10,000 followers, it's a very difficult journey. But back then, there were no proper agencies. Now there is an agency who kind of takes the content creators' brand dealings in their hands. They kind of handle the entire, negotiations and all of that. They take care of the entire thing. So that's what happens now. So once you sign up with an agency, then things get easier, because an agency has the power of volume. Because an agency has 100 creators under them, they have the bargaining power now. Now the agency will reach out to a brand saying, I have 100 content creators. This is the amount of money that we need. This is the payment cycle. Pay during within this time. That's how it is now. Rather than you individually talking to a brand, let's say with 10,000 followers, the brand has the bargaining power. So now it's much simpler, I would say, the economy. But back then it was quite hard.
Sharan,
Yeah.
I know you can refuse to answer this, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to ask this question. 10K, 100K, 1 million.
Yeah.
What's the kind of brand deal size that I can get from this?
I would say, I won't talk about mine.
Of course. I mean, you can choose to not to.
Someone who has 10K, I would say in a year, it's not sustainable, I would say. Not enough to sustain your livelihood, right? So I would say they won't be making more than 30, 40K per month, I would say, which is actually enough, but maybe not enough in a long-term perspective.
Right.
Someone with 100K might make something like, I think everybody's interested in this, right? The most interesting part. Someone with 100K, I would say, would make something like around 30L a year.
30L a
30L a year. And once you reach the million mark, that's when you do long-term deals. So what happens is, let's say, it's definitely more than a crore, I would say. Someone with
Right.
1 million followers is making more than a crore.
Guys, a big round of applause. You know a millionaire is in the house,
Yeah.
and he's being so humble,
Yeah.
and he has spelled the beans. And thank you very much
Yeah.
for doing that. Sharan, when you see so much fame, when you see so much, people actually crave for your attention. People actually, want to talk to you. People actually want to get in touch with you for so many things. How do you keep yourself grounded?
For me, I felt a little hard because it happened too soon. Instant fame is also not good, right? Because it takes some time to getting used to it, right? People recognizing you in public, and you're like, I'm like, man, did they really recognize me? That's not something that most people think of happening, right? When I reached 10K followers, I jokingly told my sister, okay, now I think people are going to ask me selfies and all of that. But I made it as a joke back then, right? Because I never thought it was going to happen. But once you reach like the 100K mark, people start recognizing you. For me, especially in Bangalore, because my content has Bangalore slangs. So more than 10% of my audience is Bangalore. So people recognize me here. So I love it. I'm not saying, some people don't like it. Some people are like, they like their privacy and all that. But I love every bit of it. It's awesome. It's fun. But I'm still getting used to it because it happened so quickly. But I love every bit of it.
Superb. Future what is happening, Sharan? What are you planning? And I know you have a news if you want to share it with the world.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't get into IIM. So then that's when I got into consulting. So I thought I'll build, I'll get the 4-year work experience. So my plan was, since I didn't get into IIM, I'll go for my MBA abroad, right? So that was my plan. And US was on my mark because I always wanted to go US as a kid. I'm sure most of us grew up watching these, US TV shows. But I still watch only US TV shows. I don't watch anything else. So for me, US played a very big role. And when I visited the US for my competition, I was blown away by the culture. So I really wanted to go back there and study. So that was been my goal for the past 4 years, building my profile and building my career to build a good application for a US MBA college. Recently, last year I applied and I got into Columbia Business School. So that's where I'll be going this year. August is when I'll be starting. Yeah.
And what will happen to the content?
I will continue content from there as well. So as we speak, I'm building this content repository where I have a lot of pre-recorded videos already ready. There are around 50 videos which are already ready. So in the beginning, it's going to get a little difficult. I need to build out a super hectic schedule, but I'm definitely going to keep it running. And I think once I go there, my creativity will probably improve. Like I said, every stage of your life, your bubble keeps increasing. So once you go so in Colombia, people from 90 different countries are in one classroom, right? So now I'll get the perspective of 90 different countries over the span of next 2 years. So my bubble significantly increases. So right now I have this, these are the set of career paths that I think I need to explore. But once I interact with people from so many countries, from so many different backgrounds, my whole world will, go for a toss. And I'll realize, okay, this also exists. This is something that I can explore. So all of that is going to happen. So yeah, really excited to see how I can incorporate my New York life into my content and see if I can make something special about that as well.
Absolutely lovely. Before I open it to the audience, one last question.
Yeah.
$1 million skill that I need to have.
$1 million skill.
Yeah.
$1 million skill, I mean, I don't know if it's a $1 million skill, but an essential skill I would say right now is content creation. Now, when I mean content creation, I don't mean, creating videos on Instagram. Content can be of many forms. If video is not your cup of tea, then the bare minimum would be to create written content on LinkedIn about your work. Because today, having good pedigree is not enough. You need to stand out from the crowd. How do you stand out from the crowd? Is by adding true value to your community. Now, when someone is applying for a job, the first thing that the HR does is going to search you on LinkedIn, right? And if there are 5 people who have applied, and if all of them are from IIM, you'll all look the same. Because everybody can write big stuff of what they've done, right? Everybody can write what kind of numbers they have generated and all of that. All that is, talking in air. But putting up posts and showing genuine value addition to your community and building a following, all that makes you stand out. That shows that you're capable of building a personal brand and you're not just talking in air. People resonate with your thoughts and words. So I think that is a skill which everybody should master. So the bare minimum I would say for everyone, no matter what career they're in, is to package it in an easier format for the world to understand. So basically you're building a personal brand for yourself and telling the world who you are and what you do in a very simple way. So that is a skill which everybody should master.
Fantastic. On that note, I'm going to open the house.
Hi Sharan, I am
Hi.
Anju. First of all, I want to say I love your content.
Thank you.
I didn't know that personal finance was such an important skill if it wasn't for your content. So my question to you is, as someone who's just started saving and investing, what would you advise or how would you advise us to proceed? Like what courses or what books should we refer to start as a beginner?
Yeah, so as a beginner, obviously watch content because that will sort of, I'm not saying that to watch my content, I'm saying watch any kind of content. I mean, when I started off, even my journey, I started off by watching YouTube videos by some of the greatest creators out there in the finance domain like Pranjal Kamra and C.R. Rachna Ranade. That's how my interest started as well. So once you are able to, they make things to understand, they make you understand things for everybody, right? But most people might not be able to understand by reading a book. So by watching a video, me personally, I like watching videos and understanding from that. So I would say start off with that. Then that will sort of make you more interested in it, and that's when you can start picking up a book, right? So one of the earliest books that I read was something, it is called 13 Steps to Bloody Good Wealth. So that is a book which was really good, I felt, for a beginner. And then One Upon Wall Street again for stock picking. That's a very simple book. Then you can go to difficult books like The Intelligent Investor. A mistake which I made actually even before doing watching content was picking up The Intelligent Investor, because that is what Google tells when you type, the best finance book out there. And that's a really difficult book to digest in the beginning. Very difficult to read, and that might, make you uninterested in finance if you start with something like that. So I would say start with content, videos. You can read some blogs after that. For example, Jago Investor is a very good personal finance blog that I really like. You can read that. And then you can read articles by Clear Tax for understanding about taxation. That's very nice. And then you can migrate towards books and then gradually build from there.
Hey Sharan, my name is Prajwal. I'm
Hi.
also a student of RV College.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Prajwal.
Hi. So my question is, what really pushed you out of engineering and that interest you wanted to do in consulting or finance?
I honestly, it's a one-word answer. I felt it was boring. Mechanical engineering, I did not really see myself, doing CAD models or building CFD models using HyperMesh or ANSYS. Those are the softwares that you use for mechanical engineering. I did that. I genuinely put in the effort to learn it and understand and master that skill. But I did not see myself doing that long term. I'm more of a person who likes to interact with people and work in groups. Whereas as a mechanical engineer, you will probably be at your desk and build these models in isolation and add value. So it just depends from person to person. But I did not like doing that. I didn't think I could do that for a long term. So that's why I shifted.
Okay, I've got a hard stop. Our next speaker is also there. As I mentioned, he also has a hard stop. So we have to end this session.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Sharan, for making it and
Thank you
coming
for
to
having
us.
me here.
And thank you for sharing your story with the world.
Absolutely.
I hope that you guys liked it. I hope whoever is watching has liked it. If you have any comments or questions, do reach out to us.